Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the grand final of the Interhouse debating contest. I'm Patricia Chung from 4E, the MC for today's competition. Our timekeeper is Nikki Fan from 4D. Now, I would like to introduce our adjudicators. Please welcome Ms. Jessica Wong and Mr. Andy Ho. Before we start the competition, I must remind you of the details of the competition. All speakers will speak for 3 minutes. The opening speaker of the affirmative side will speak first, followed by the opening speaker of the opposition side. All other speakers will then speak consecutively. Following all the speeches, there will be a free debate session. The affirmative and opposition teams will be given 3 minutes for their speeches, and the affirmative team will start first. Each team can use all 3 minutes at one time or separate them into several speeches. However, only one debater is allowed to deliver his or her speech at one time. One timekeeper is assigned for each team. When the delivery time accumulates to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the timekeeper will ring the bell once. When the time is up to 3 minutes, the bell will be rung twice. And the debater of that team should stop his or her speech. When either one team uses up its 3 minute time slot, the other team should continue to use up its remaining time. When both teams have used up the 3 minute time slot, the free debate session ends. There's no grace period in the free debate session. After the free debate session, the debate is then open to the floor. There will be 2 floor speakers in each team. Each floor speaker will ask the opponents a floor question within 1 minute. The bell will be rung once 15 seconds before the time limit, twice when the time is up. And the floor speaker must return to his or her seat. Each team will be given 30 seconds to prepare an answer to the floor question. The bell will be rung once when the preparation time is up. One of the team members should give a response to the floor question within 1 minute. The bell will be rung once 15 seconds before the time limit, and twice when the time is up. The debater must stop talking. When all the floor questions have been answered, the floor section is closed. The team will then have 1 minute of preparation time for the concluding speech. For all the debaters' speeches, the bell will be rung once 30 seconds before the time is up, twice when the time is up, and continuously after the grace period of 15 seconds. The speaker must return to his or her seat. Marks will be deducted from the team score if the speaker cannot end his or her speech when the grace period is over. Please note that there will be a 15-second pause between speeches for adjudicators' scoring. Today's motion is organizing overseas study tours for kindergarten students bring more benefits than harm. Loyalty House is on the affirmative side. The opening speaker is Kelly Ho from 4E. The first speaker is Christy Law from 4C. The concluding speaker is Sabrina Long from 4C. Intellect House is on the opposition side. The opening speaker is Bang Ng from 4C. The first speaker is Rocky Lee from 4E. The concluding speaker is Justin Chan from 4E. I will now call and appoint the first speaker of the affirmative team to deliver her speech.
Testing. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today's motion is organizing overseas study tours for the kindergarten students bring more benefits than harm. We, the affirmative side, believe that the statement is true. We define the motion as to organize overseas study tour in the country outside Hong Kong for the students who age between 3 to 6. The tour will last at most 1 month and parents are not expected to join the tour. Our team line is that organizing overseas study tour benefits the kindergarten students in terms of excavating their potential and achieving personal development. I will further elaborate how the kindergarten students could excavate their potential, while my second speaker will illustrate the benefits to their personal development. Ladies and gentlemen, kindergarten students can excavate their potential by joining overseas study tours at 2 aspects. First, organizing overseas study tours is a golden chance for them to discover their talents. According to the research by the Education Department of PRC, at the age of kindergarten students, they are very sensitive and curious to the things surrounding. Once they expose firsthand to the new things, the memory will be planted deeply in their mind and influence their whole lives. So, encountering different cultures of foreign countries such as art and music during the study tour can stimulate their minds and generate great impression to them. Then their talents will be discovered. This will definitely facilitate their future development if they can find out their talents at a younger stage. Second, joining overseas study tours can strengthen the ability of learning languages. According to a brain study report by the University of London, the ability of handling languages is mainly constructed at the age between 3 to 6. It means that if kindergarten students can grab this golden period and get in touch with different more languages, it can greatly to help them develop an outstanding language ability. No matter which language they come in touch with, maybe English, German, and Japanese, and so on, their sense towards languages has been activated during the study tour because they are exposed to a native speaking environment of another new language. Most importantly, only by providing an entire native speaking environment can it create the atmosphere that boosts the ability of handling new languages. And this is the advantage and the reason why kindergarten students need to go overseas. Therefore, overseas study tours can provide opportunities to explore students' potential. So today's motion must stand. Thank you.
The speaker has used 3 minutes and 11 seconds. No marks will be deducted. I'll now call upon the first speaker of the opposition team to deliver his speech.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our team opposes the motion that organizing overseas study tours for kindergarten students bring more benefits than harm. Our opponent claims that through joining the overseas study tours, it helps the kindergarten's personal development, such as language ability. However, it's not true. Kids aging 3 to 6 years old are not mature enough. They may not understand some complicating ideas and even may not have a profound memory about this trip in the future. So how can they develop their personalities now? Therefore, this benefit is small and negligible. Okay, so why is our team strongly against today's statement? Here are the reasons. First, kindergarten kids are not mature enough to protect themselves and even acquire knowledge while joining the overseas study tours, causing safety problems and a waste of time. if we are going to bring kindergarten kids to travel abroad, how can we guarantee their safety? The kindergarten kids are young, innocent, and immature. Even though there may be some adults accompanying with them, how the kindergarten kids are still being exposed under a serious threat since they are lacking of the safety awareness. Unlike Hong Kong, the other countries may be relatively less secure. The young children may get hurt, get lost, or even get some infectious diseases because of their weak immunity system. Who knows what will happen to those kids, and how are those young kids be able to protect themselves if they get lost in a foreign country? Definitely, the safety of the kindergarten kids is threatened. Besides, as I said, kindergarten kids aging 3 to 6 years old are not mature enough. The kindergarten kids may not be able to grab some sophisticated information relating to those foreign countries. The aim of joining the overseas study tours is to experience the foreign cultures. However, not all kindergarten children are capable of understanding the deep meanings of the foreign cultures at this young age. The kindergarten students may find it difficult to understand the foreign stuff, although there may be teachers trying to make the complicating ideas more easier to be digested. Those new information will finally become second-hand materials. And if the kindergarten kids have to acquire some second-hand knowledge, then why not just let them stay in the classroom in Hong Kong and learn with the teachers? To put it in a nutshell, it's not the right time to let kindergarten kids to learn overseas, as it will cause a waste of time and money traveling abroad to learn. Now, not only will the kindergarten kids be affected, parents may also be adversely affected by this plan. Organizing overseas study tours for kindergarten kids may impose financial burdens on some families. As we all know, parents are still required to pay the school fees for the kindergarten kids in Hong Kong. If we are going to organize overseas study tours for kindergarten students, it will certainly further exert much pressure on some less well-off families. This part will be explained by our second debater in details. And finally, our first speaker is going to summarize all our points. To sum up, the cons highly outweigh the pros, and today's motion must fall. Thank you.
They do a great job, and honestly, it's not easy to stand up and speak. And somehow, if they stutter, I think it's really expected, and it's really the very best. So first of all, I'd like to comment on the affirmative side. I think there is a big issue of you have to elaborate on the point about causation, that is the association. I think the problem is you keep on stressing that once they arrive at a place, they can learn something. But can you actually tell me in more detailed manner how can they actually learn once they arrive at a new place? Somehow, I think a distinction can be drawn between first-hand experience and vicarious experience. That is, once although your own person go to a particular place, you may not necessarily learn something because you can passively receive information, or you can simply refuse to receive any information because you are at such a young age, and you may not want to do anything except playing or except gathering or fooling around with your friends. So I think although you go there, you may not learn anything necessarily. So you have to tell us in a more detailed manner how can you possibly infer that children, once they go to a foreign country, they can at least learn something worthy of the price or worthy of the expenditure they give or they contribute to the trip. So I think you have to address the issue of causation. And I think another matter is about there's a contradiction or some kind of confusion about your point about excavating the potential of the participants. So somehow just like when you say that they can discover or they can unleash the potential, but somehow on the other hand you keep saying that they can implant something, like they can implant some qualities or characteristics once they experience something new. So are you suggesting that they are actually discovering something new, or are you preparing themselves to discover something new? I think there is a discrepancy, and you have to address the issue. Whether the trip is preparatory nature, or indeed the trip itself can help them to discover something new. So do you understand what I talk about? Yeah, so for the negative side, I think you have to prioritize our argument. That is, I think the strongest argument can be the point about the anyway, the argument about security is a bit tenuous, I think, and you strenuously defend for it, but it's not. I think it's not time effective to do it because it's not the strongest argument you can provide to persuade the audience. And somehow I think you did a great job to mention the expense and the expense and the cost of the trip. But somehow I think you can frame it in another way that, for example, it is the cost is. I'm sorry. I should talk about something else first. You talk about the age of the participants. That's a good point because we are discussing the participants of such a tender age. They may not be as intelligent or they may not be as mature as teenagers or even adults. Perhaps adults, once they go to a new place, they can easily adapt to it. But somehow you have to address the problem of age first. But you can further hammer home the point by saying that perhaps, first of all, security or risk is not a major point in my point of view. Somehow, like for example, they are so young that their extraordinary susceptibility to risk is a problem, and it unsatisfactorily and unnecessarily shifts the burden, the strenuous burden of taking care of them to their chaperones. I think that's a serious problem. Especially teachers or their parents, they necessarily undergo the process of stress because they are so worried about the safety or they are worried about the situation, the mental or the physical situations of their children or the students. So I think that can be made an argument, but somehow it's up to you. And finally, I think your point about expenses is fair, is true, and if I were to debate, then I would probably approach this point by mentioning the idea about equal opportunity to education, because somehow we all have to admit that we don't have equal access to education. We may not be that privileged to enjoy overseas study trip, but somehow can we try at least to do something to redress the imbalance? And honestly, the subsidies from the government may not be sufficient, and somehow we have to admit that even we have subsidies, it may not be enough, since this opportunity of studying overseas is exclusively reserved for those who are rich enough to afford the trip. So I think we can all approach this question from other perspectives so that your argument can be more comprehensive and well-rounded. But overall, the presentation and the performance is impressive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. He. Now I'm going to announce the result of today's debate. The negative side has beaten the affirmative side. So the Intellect House is the champion of the Interhouse debating contest.